Hey, it's TDA and welcome back to Astro Colony. Today we are going to make our little platform over here into a spaceship, and we are going to do that by basically just attaching some engines to it, because you can do that. We can put electric thrusters on our platform and then we are able to move around with it. So let's get that research done. We are also going to actually employ some minor drones and some mines in order to get some more juicy little resources from the planets that we are going to visit. And in order to find that stuff, we are going to take the scanning research as well to make sure we can actually find our stuff. So let's jump to it. The first thing we are going to want to build is the new building that we just unlocked, and that is the hydro generator. It apparently produces hydrogen and hydrotonic, and especially the first thing is what we are interested in, because that is what our engines will run on. As you can see, the electric thrusters need the hydrogen to actually function. So, hydro generator. It's an interesting building that has all the inputs on the front. As you can see, as you can see, if I can turn it around so you can actually see what I'm doing. It needs some power, of course, but it also needs coal, as we will find out, or carbon, I should say, and water. Well, we have water over here, so that's quite convenient, and we also have a belt over here, so let's make the most use out of that. We are going to do this like this, I believe. That should work. It should leave room for the power. There we go. We are once again going to drill a hole in our platform to get to the power, so that will sort itself in a moment. And then we are going to build some little belts. Let's see. So we want this belt to go in here. And in order for that to work, we are going to need some logic blocks. We are going to use a pusher. We're going to put a pusher over here. And then this is going to push coal, carbon, whatever. Looks like coal. Is it coal? I actually don't know. Let me check the recipe. What are we calling this? Carbon ore. Okay, so carbon it is. So any carbon ore that will be put on this specific belt will get pushed in here, and then this should function. Now, of course, we also need to get some water in there. So let's fix that right away. We have the water production over here, so that shouldn't be the hardest thing in the world. Actually, I wonder if I can do this on top. Can we like suck it out? Yeah, apparently not. Well, that's not the biggest problem in the world, because we can just do something like this. And then take this over. There we go. And then down here. Well, actually, alternatively, we could also take that in the rounds. Yeah, actually, let's do that. That will look a lot neater. And yeah, I know I might be taking this whole do everything underground thing a bit too far. I don't know, I just like it. Might as well do that, so that... Oh, but actually, can we do it? Can we drill a hole here? There's like this permanent block that we have to work around, but yeah, it's only a small block. I think it's like the 9 squares around this unit over here, the flag. Okay, so we have 2 holes in the ground. Yay me! That also means that I'm gonna need a hole in the ground over here, so we actually drill down. There we go. And then we can fix that in a moment. But for now, what are we going to do about the carbon ore? Well, we have plenty of carbon over here, and as you can see, we are getting way more carbon into our carbon reactors than we actually need, so we don't have to worry about not supplying our power with enough. But right now we're basically having all the coal go down there. There's a couple of ways in which we can do this. We actually don't need that much coal, I think, for the hydrogen. So what we can do is we can simply put another logic block over here. Not sure why the splitter logic block isn't in there in the menu. I'll probably edit that. I haven't really found out how I'm supposed to do that. Let's put a splitter here. And then let's put another belt. And then just double back over here. And then go around the corner. Oh yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. So now half of it is going to go through, then half of that is going to go in there. Yeah, that's a little bit overkill probably. So what we can do is we can add another logic block in order to stop that. It's a bit inconvenient because I placed those next to each other, I guess. Actually, no, we can also just... Can we? No, I don't think if we rotate this, this will still work. If I do it like this, will it still split? Did you see that move back and forth just now? So it will try to split 3 ways into these directions, and then this direction will immediately have it turn around. Yeah, I guess that works. It's not entirely what I wanted it to do, but it's interesting to see how that functions. Anyway, let's do it like this though, because I think the more logically correct way to do this is to do it like this and just place a blocker over here. And no, I can't block the hydrogen here, never mind, because if the carbon, I mean, because if I do that, then nothing will actually pass through on this belt. So we are actually going to do it like this. Why not? Well, it will function. So half of it will go in here, half of it will go through here, and then half of that will go in, and half of it will turn back on this belt and be fed back on the belt with the ice. That also means that we need to push on the hydrogen in this block. We're now just pushing on the ice cubes, but now we're going to... I keep saying hydrogen. I have been playing way too much that Dyson Sphere with making hydrogen setups, as you know if you're following my other content. Anyway, now we should have some coal at least passing on through here, and then it should be pushed in there, and that should work all according to plan. Let's see if that's actually the case. Can we have some coal on this belt? I keep saying coal. I think this is carbon. There we go. Let's see if any of that is... Actually, that is iron. Hello, coal? 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 This is coal. Yeah. Okay, so... now watch that just go straight into all the carbon facilities, but... Initially it goes up there, sure, and then some of that goes through, and then... Yeah, of course, then the other half... Should be... This one should be going on this belt. Yeah, there we go. Yes. Okay, working like intended. Okay, so let me fix the water under the platform as well as the power, and then let's see if it functions. And there we go. We are now producing hydrogen tanks. And as you can see, I connected up the power. I also connected up the water, so that's all going underground now. Very nice and tidy. So we have no cables and no... well, no more tubes than we need all up on our platform, so we have a nice overview of what's happening around. So let's take some of these hydrogen tanks. We will be mass producing these. I'm not sure how many we actually need, but next step in our process is that we're going to need some thrusters. The thrusters are once again under device, I think, and there we go. As you can see, this is the thruster. It just needs some power, so pretty straightforward. But I think we do want to focus and kind of have like a little control unit probably. Now the thing is that at some point we also need to dock our station, so we might want to think about where we place that. Is there a logical front to our ship? Not in the way we've built it so far, I believe. Let's dedicate this part of the ship as being our front. In order to do that, I think we're just going to take out these railings. We're not that worried about falling off anyway, considering we can fly. Actually, maybe not. Let's not take all of it off. Yeah, why not? There we go. And then we are going to want to build some floors. Apparently, we don't have to actually build support for our floors anywhere, which is interesting to say the least. But anyway, let's see, what we can do is something like this. There we go. How do we fill in those gaps? We probably, I think we can press, yeah, there we go. Oh, I can't place those over there. Why not? Do I need to take this out first? That is so weird. There we go. Let's delete those and then let's place some... Yes, but oh, okay. We need to take these out. That's the problem. We can't put two triangles next to each other, but we only can place squares or triangles in a space that's designated for floors. Okay, so then this should fill in the gaps. There we go. Nice and tidy. And then if we are going to make this the front of our ship, let's try and make it a little bit symmetric. So that also means we are going to take this out. There we go. And we are going to take all of this out. Not necessarily the bottom thing. I don't want to take out the support. I just want to take out the floors. There we go. Not sure about how much we actually care about the floors, but okay. Now you can see the strength of our mass production of the... There we go. We're actually using more than we have access to at the moment anyway, but I think we have some additional elements of these, what are they called? Plates. Plates was the word I was looking for. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be the first part of our little spaceship. Let's put like the piloting area over here, and that means that we are now going to place down a few thrusters. Let's see. There we go. And I think it makes sense to have them kind of over here. There we go. And yeah, we are going to need to power those up, so let me hook them up. So I hooked up these two things to a power source, and now we're gonna go and see where we can go. Now this is the map. We are currently in the middle of this map, and there are several celestial bodies around. So this is the first station. That kind of suggests you can have more than one, so that's promising. We have Cement Cat X, and I think these are all named after backers from the original Kickstarter. Could be wrong, but it seems to make sense considering the names. And yes, you can see we have a large amount of different resources on this specific planet, including things that we haven't seen so far, like uranium and aluminium and titanium. Let's take a look around. We have some similar resources on this one with a little bit of iron, not much honestly. Pretty much the same, very similar as well. You do see that the amounts and the makeup of the different systems is different per planet though. This one actually has a lot of resources, so that's interesting. It's also the only one I've seen so far, I think, with a large amount of iron, so that's interesting, but it doesn't really have that much aluminium. This one has a little bit more of that. We might just go for the closest one, honestly. This has huge amounts of gold and all the other resources that we don't really have access to. We don't have iron here, but so far I'm not really low on iron, so we can set a destination like this, and that helps us kind of figure out where we can go. As you can see, it's over there. Now the engines work in an interesting way, because initially I thought, okay, I need to go up there. How do I place an engine so I have upwards thrust? Well, you don't actually need to, because you can just say go up and then power it up. And similarly, we can do the same thing over here, and that should speed us up a little bit, I think. And yeah, this is going to take a while. And we are finally almost there. And as you can see from the amount of engines I actually built, yeah, this took forever. And as you can see, we have a decent speed, and I do think the amount of engines matters, but yeah, it took really long. Now the real challenge is going to be turning this off in time, so we might actually just want to do this. Actually, no, I think there's a smarter way to do that. This works, don't get me wrong, but you can actually enable the autopilot and then disable the autopilot, and then you're basically standing still. The way the engines work, by the way, I actually didn't explain it, sorry about that. You can turn them on, and then you can basically say which direction you want to move in. So if you have it go down, for example, as you can see, we are now slowly going down. If you just power it up and you do it like this, then you will start moving forward. And yeah, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes if you're actually moving, especially if you're still a long way away from where you want to go. but it does actually work, and you do actually move, albeit very, very, very slowly. Actually, I want to move slightly to the right, I think. Yeah, like that. So I want to align this kind of with that area over there. Let's reset and walk over here so we can kind of fine tune that. Let's make sure we power this up. Now let's go straight ahead. And there is a smarter way. As you can see, we do have an autopilot. It's just not functioning yet. But we'll be able to take advantage of the autopilot in a moment. Or at least I think we will. But let's find out. Now we are getting fairly close to where we want to go. So let's slightly go down a little bit and have this sort of aligned. We actually don't need to go all the way to the platform. So let's leave it there. Now, let's turn it off though, because we don't want to crash into the planet. That would be a bad thing, most likely. Now, let's talk about a moment about the miners, because we already have access to that. We need to build mines, which we need the rods for, that we have plenty of, as you can see. And we also need miner drones. Now, we built the miner drones in the drone facility, which is here, the robot facility, sorry, the robots assembler. And we haven't actually built it yet. And the reason we haven't built it yet is because for some reason the robots assembler works best if you create the robots on the planet that you want to use them on. There's a bit of a pathing issue, it seems, with this game. If you build the robots on your planet, they won't always recognize they have somewhere to go on the planetoids. So yeah, I recommend that if you build them on the planet. And speaking of which, let's go and get to that. Okay, so I've built a little platform in the middle of our planetoid, island, whatever we want to call it. And if we press this C button now, we can actually scan the island and you can see where all the different resources are. And it's quite convenient, they all have their appropriate color, so it makes it easy to track them down. They do disappear after a while, but the good thing is we actually have a lot of carbon ore on the right side of this planet, which we can use to fuel the actual planet itself, so we can set up a small little base in order to get our production going. Now, we want to build a mine, so let's start with that. Now, this has a little platform on the outside, like you can see, where the drones will go in. We also need to supply it with power, and we have the output on the left side from where we're looking right now. So I think, yeah, this will probably work just fine. We will just place it something like over here. And then we are going to place a storage facility right next to it. So we actually have somewhere for all that stuff to go. Now let's make sure we align the output and the input. Let's leave some room so we can see what we're doing. So there we go. And we all obviously want to connect that with a belt. Actually, I did not align that properly. So let's take that one out. And then we can set it up something like this. There we go. Now, output, input. That will sort that one out. This actually does not need any power. Now, like I've said before, you do need to, at least I recommend that you construct the actual mines on the planet where you are going to use them. So, let's see, where can we find the robot assembler? This one. Only costs some plates. We have plenty of those, so that's not going to be a problem. There's only a temporary facility as well, so let's just put the power in a convenient angle. Let's go up a little bit so we can actually see what we're doing. Where did we say we were going to place the other power? On this side, I believe. Yup. Okay, this is not going to work. I'll just let it be here on the outside. And we will connect it up with some power. Like so. This should be the same power. And we are actually going to set up some power over here. Let's place those over here next to the output belts. There we go. And then let's connect the power all around. This is probably not the best idea in terms of the miner pathing. Ooh, no, 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 no. That does not go there. Delete. Let's see. So something like this and like that. Now I did bring some inventory, so we can split those up. I always forget what the shortcut is to split something up. There we go. Now we have 2 stacks of those, so let's put 1 stack in here. And the other stack in here. There we go. Okay, so now we have everything powered up. Now the robot's assembler, what does it need? It actually needs electronic parts in order to craft drones, and it needs copper bars and electronic parts to create miner drones. So let's start with those. I actually did bring some electronic parts over here, so there should be enough for 3 drones. I'm not sure how many we need. Let's quickly jump back and grab some copper bars as well. We should have plenty of those by now. There we go. Zoom. I like the boost, by the way. We got the thruster boost a little while back. And now we can place those in. And we should get some miner drones out of that. Now, this is set to mine carbon, iron, and copper right now. Not sure why we can't mine the other stuff, but we'll figure that out in a moment. As you can see, we now have the drones charging up. There we go. But it's not actually doing anything just yet. And I think that is because we don't have a direct path to the carbon or iron or copper right now. So let's go and fix that. Okay, there we go. We now have the miners set up. We actually didn't have to move this. It took me a while to realize that by default it only says it requires 1 miner, so the other drone wasn't actually coming because it wasn't said it was needed. And then in order to mine something, we simply click what we want. So for example, we say we want carbon, we click that, and then it doesn't do anything because it can't actually find the carbon. So in order to find the carbon, let's find out where it is. So we have a little bit of carbon over here. So let's go dig for that. See if we can unearth that. And oh, actually we didn't have it powered up, so that was the problem. There we go. So let's put some manual carbon into this facility. Then we should have that hooked up to power, of course, in order for that to function. There we go. I actually moved it by 1 little piece, and there we go. We have the drones flying off, so let's follow them around for a moment. Kind of cool. So they're trying to dig holes over there, and they're transporting back the goods. And then they didn't actually do anything yet, because I think they're just trying to dig a hole at the moment. Yeah, as you can see, they are digging a hole, trying to get to the carbon. At least I assume that there's carbon over there. They just go for the nearest vein, so that will take them a moment to actually get that going. While they do that, as soon as they will produce the carbon, it will go in here into our facility, and I set up this filter over here, so only the carbon is going out over here, and then it's being split between these 2 facilities that are currently powering up our base. So while we're at it, let's build some more miners. So let's pick more miners. We have a little bit more resources, of course, that we want to be mining in this specific area. Let's set them up like this. Maybe a little bit to the outside. There we go. That's 1. We can only set it to resource mine 1 specific thing. So we also want this to mine copper. Not sure why it can't actually do the gold. Maybe it's not close enough. Where's the gold? The gold is all the way over there. It does say it can mine the iron, which is not actually on this planet, so that's interesting. So let's see if I take this one out. Well, we don't actually have to take it out. So let's just see if we build it closer, we get a different message. Can I build it over here, somewhere in the middle of nowhere? Probably not. I will probably need to build some flooring to do that. Let's try that out. It's quite interesting to see how this works, actually. So let's make a little island over here. That's not what I wanted to do. Not sure where that was built, but not. Oh, these are belts. Okay, Jesus. Okay, so actually it turned out that the power cable, even though I moved it, was not the problem. I just didn't realize exactly how the miners work. As you can see, we now have 2 drones set up, so that is all good to go. You do need to actually manually set it to require the maximum amount of 2 miners. It initially only starts out with 1, so that's why the other drone wasn't coming. And then you can select what you wanted to mine. We don't actually have any iron on this planet. We do have a lot of carbon, so as soon as I select that, the drones will go off and start working. Now currently, if we do our scan, you can see the carbon is actually underground. So the drones will start digging a hole, and they just do one single iteration, then they go back to recharge, and then they will fly back and keep digging their hole until they reach the actual carbon. Now this will take a moment, so meanwhile, let's set up a second facility because we also want to tap into this copper, and we can easily do that now by setting up, let's see, the mining facility over here, and we can simply make sure we set it up something like this. Could probably turn it around, doesn't really matter actually. It does matter because we do want to be a little bit efficient with our belts. Just we'll do it like this because we already have power near. That does mean that we are going to have to build 2 more drones. So let's make sure we only build 2. Doesn't make any sense to mass produce them. There we go. Now it should be producing 2 drones. Let's make sure this one actually knows it wants 2 drones. There we go. We need to power this up. Where is our power cable? It is over here. Might as well just keep it out of the way. Something like this. This is very unlike me to keep these up so high, but I honestly don't really care about these planets. They're just like production facilities. Whoa, what? Whoa, that I did not intend to do that. Let's do it the other way around. So, and let's take out these ugly things because they are actually not serving any purpose. There we go. So now we have a power cable to this one as well. Yeah, that should be working just fine. And then we are going to set this to farm some copper. Now you might have noticed the copper that is now incoming from our drones is actually nicely going through over here. And then going into our power facility, so that's very useful. Yep. We can probably turn this off for the moment though, just because we don't actually have that many facilities. We only have 4 power consumption here and 4 over there, of course, and this facility is not actually, sorry, this one is not actually doing anything because we have already created all the miners that we want, so we only need this because this supplies 10 power, so we don't want to waste it on the second one just yet. Speaking of which, we don't actually have a use for all that copper that we currently are producing over here. So let's see. We can have that go in over there. And now we have a place to store all our copper. So at least we will never run out of copper again because they now have a base warehouse with a lot of copper. Now, of course, we could expand on this and make very interesting facilities where we, for example, put all this copper to use and maybe dedicate this planetoid to produce a specific type of resource. I actually prefer to do my main production in our little spaceship over there. We can expand that as well. We are not going to do that just yet. I'm actually wondering why my assignment to assign miners to a mine hasn't actually done anything. Pretty sure I did that. These are miners, right? Yeah, they say they're miners, and I've assigned them. Yes, maybe, no? Not entirely sure why my quest is not completing, but then again, it's just a tutorial, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, as you can see, they dug a very nice hole right to the carbon. We have a lot of that over here, so we have 1,500 thousands basically of carbon ore over here, so that will be more than enough to keep this powered up for the foreseeable future. And we are also now producing the copper. Now you might have noticed that we can actually only mine these 3 resources, and the reason for that is very simple. We haven't actually done the research yet to dive into, for example, aluminium or gold. All we need to do in order to do that is just pick up these different technologies, so we can actually do that. And now we should be able to also select, for example, gold and aluminium. And while we're at it, why not? Let's just set that up. We might as well do that. We need to build one more additional miner in that case. Like that. We have some power need then. Here we go. And now it's powered up. That does mean we are going to need to produce 2 more of those. There we go. I'm stuck in the building, or stuck in an asteroid actually, jeez. Okay, those two, and then let's mine some gold. We can never have enough gold, because we will have very much use for that as well. Not in this episode probably, but soon. Let's just have that combined with this belt, might as well, and store that in the warehouse, just like the rest. Okay guys, well, we took a nice trip. We powered up our spaceship. We now have rockets on our spaceship in order to fly somewhere. We've set up a little mining facility over here, and as you can see, we now have drones going in all kinds of directions. We have 6 drones all over the place. Those drones, I think, are going off to the gold. Yep, they are. We can actually also mine some titanium and aluminium over here once we get access to that and we have a use for it. So yeah, very excited. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will join you in the next one.